Hello everyone!
Hello!
We are back.
近い。
Now in Japan, I know many parents want to give their children the gift of the English language, but they don't know where to start.
確かに。家族によってね、シチュエーションが違うから、どうやって始めたらいいかわからないよね。
So we're going to do exactly that. Now, there is one thing that all families need to be doing if they want to raise the chances of their success for bilingual parenting.
バイリンガルだけじゃなくって、おうち英語に興味がある人も使えるよね。
True. Before our first child was born, I read this book, Maximize Your Child's Bilingual Ability by Adam Beck. And I got a lot of great techniques from this book. But there is one thing that really resonated with me from reading this book, and that is this line. The level of your effort must match the size of your challenges and the scale of your aim.
それって具体的にどういうこと？
Allow me to explain. So every family needs to identify three things. Your aim, your challenges, and your effort. So today, we'll be sharing our experiences with those three things and giving you some other examples. And by the end of this video, I hope you will have an opportunity to identify your aim, your challenges, and your effort. So first, you need to start with your aim, which is your goal. Now, no matter what you're doing, whether it's a task, a project, or a mission, you always need to think about your goal first in order to have a high success rate. But parenting is not something that lasts just a few months, right? It's a lifelong thing. And so that makes knowing your aim that much more important.
じゃあ、例えば、うちの場合は、どういうエイムだった？
Our aim is to raise bilingual children who can speak and write English and Japanese fluently.
どっちもね。
Now that's a pretty lofty goal, but that's what we want to provide for our children. And so everything else that we do needs to match that aim. What kind of aim would other families in Japan have?
例えば、子供にざっくり英語を好きになってほしいとか、あとは将来は英語を使った仕事についてほしいとか。
Yeah, we hear that one a lot too. Now, obviously, the more specific your aim is, the better. But if your child is an infant or just a toddler, it's hard to think that far ahead and have a very clear picture, like, I want my child to become a UN representative. But at all times, you need to understand your overall aim, otherwise, you'll be lost on what you need to do and how much effort you need to put in. Next, you need to identify what your challenges are. What is standing in your way of your aim?
うちの場合はどうだろうね。
Well, I think there are three challenges that our family faced. The first one is that we both work full-time jobs, and it also involves a pretty long commute. And so that really limits the time that we get to spend with our children. And if we want to raise bilingual children, we need to provide our children with a lot of English exposure. We can't do that if we're at work all the time. So that's one challenge that we had. Another challenge is that we decided not to put our children in international daycares or international schools, just a regular public school. And so our kids will grow up without having any formal English education.
確かに。
Do we have any other challenges?
あとは日本語を話す環境にいるっていうこと？
That's right. Our kids are constantly surrounded by relatives, friends, classmates who all speak Japanese. And while that's not a bad thing, it does again limit the amount of English exposure.
じゃあ、例えばさっきのエイムの場合だったらどんなチャレンジがあるか？
So for example, if your aim was to have your child have fun with English, then your challenge might be that your child isn't interested in English and feels intimidated by it.
まあ、分かんなかったらね、嫌だってなっちゃうもんね。
Also, if you want your child to use English in the future, then the challenge might be that the parents themselves might not have confidence with their own English ability and feel that they can't teach or help their child. Riley's here suddenly. Only after you've identified your aim and your challenges can you start thinking about the effort that is needed.
じゃあ、我が家のエフォートは？
Since we are both working, we really needed to make use of the time that we spent together. whether that be before or after work or on the weekends. And we made a commitment that whenever we're all together or at home, that we only speak English.
はい。
For me, I get home really late, and by that time, all the kids are already sleeping. So that means I need to spend the mornings with the kids and try to talk to them in English a lot. I started taking the kids to daycare and to school, and I love that time because I get to talk nonstop with the kids in English.
私の場合はパーフェクトな英語じゃないけど、できるだけ長く子どもたちに英語に触れさせたい、から英語で話しかけるしコミュニケーションを取るし、続けるのは難しい時もあるけど、この一つ話しかけることがすごい大事だってこれからの人生のところで、でこの話しかけることによって英語に触れる時間が少しでも増えるって思って続けてる。
Thank you for doing that.
大変なんだよ。
As for our second challenge, we decided not to put our kids in international school. And of course, that's going to pose a serious disadvantage. We understand that. But there are things that we most certainly could do at home to try to give them some schooling. Specifically, we focused on two things. First is to give English homework. Now, that is on top of regular school homework, but that's an important thing. We want our kids to be able to read and write. And so homework is an integral part of that. So we bought this gigantic workbook at Costco, and every day we make our kids do 2 pages because we understand that our long-term aim is for our kids to be able to read and write. The other thing, and this was especially effective when the kids were younger, was to do a lot of reading. Every evening before we go to bed, we try to read a couple of pages of English books. So we want to expose our children to natural English, and that's a great source of new vocabulary and phrases. And the stories are just fun, so they really enjoy it.
ゆかが読むときはもっと簡単なやつ。
But still, that's important. And as for our third challenge, where we're surrounded by Japanese-speaking people, we try to overcome that by really instilling the importance of being a bilingual and to have our kids have pride in their own English abilities.
子供たちは英語を喋ることはすごい特別だと思ってるけど、それがマイナスだっていうふうには全く考えたことがないよね、今まで。
That's true.
話せて話すことが恥ずかしいとかっていうふうに思ってるっていうのは聞いたことがないし、むしろなんか喋れてることとか使えることとか読めることがすごいスペシャルなことだっていうことで認識してるよね。
I think a big part of that is how we respond to the environment. When I first started talking to kids in English in public, I was a little bit embarrassed. But that's something that I had to overcome because I had the end goal in sight. Now I don't really care. I just speak. Of course, I'll get a lot of looks, but it's all for the purpose of helping our children become bilingual speakers.
みんな見るよね。
We draw a lot of attention.
For example についても話そうか。
Sure. So let's say you want your child to have fun speaking English. Then your challenge is that your child isn't interested in English and feels intimidated by it. In that case, we recommend identifying your child's interest and tying English to that.
もうすでに好きなことに対してってことね。
That's right. So if your kid is really into Minecraft, or they love Disney princesses, or they love soccer, find those things in English. Use English as a source of information. Go online, look up YouTube videos, but do it all in English. And then they won't think, oh, it's study time, it's English time. They'll think, oh, it's time for me to enjoy my interests. We also have children who like Doraemon or Purikua or Pokemon, things like that.
でもそれも英語で作られてるのがあるから探してそれを見せる。あとね、すごくいいなと思うのが、例えばなんかヒーローのものが好きだったら全く同じヒーローのアニメーションじゃないけど英語のバージョンの向こうの子供たちが見てるヒーローのアニメーションとかっていうのがあったりとかするから、それで見せるっていうのも一つ、こういうのもあるよっていう感じでね、見せるのもありだよね。
And you can find a lot of those on Disney Plus or Netflix. And for our other example, we had parents who want their children to use English in the future. But the parent feels their English isn't good enough and they feel they can't teach or help their child. For that, there are two types of effort that you can put in. The first is that the parent themselves study English a lot, and they have a very positive outlook on studying English.
確かに親がすごい苦手でも子供には英語を好きになってほしいっていう人お教室にもいっぱい来てるけど、でもそういう時にすごい注意してほしいのが、なんかママはパパは英語ダメだから楽しんでおいでとか、ママとパパは喋れないからやったらいいよとか、自分が苦手だからとか親が好きじゃないからっていうことを子供に出さない、一緒に英語は楽しいから一緒に楽しむ、わからないけどなんか聞いてみると楽しいよねっていうのを一緒にやらないと興味がなくなっちゃう。
That type of mindset and attitude is very important from the parent. The other option is to have professionals take care of the teaching. So you can place your kid in an eikaiwa school, or there are a lot of online eikaiwa options out there. And so that's also something that you can do as part of your effort.
そうだね。全然悪いことじゃないと思う。外でたくさん英語を聞かせる、外でいっぱい学ばせる。
But again, if you want your child to be able to use English in the future, that's definitely an investment that's worth making. Finally, if you can't put in the proper effort, it's totally okay to scale down your aim. You might need to modify goals, and that's understandable, but always keep that end goal in sight. So, it only takes 5 minutes to identify your aim, your challenges, and your effort. So please go grab a pen and paper and write those things down. And please share it with us. Write it down in the comments. We'd love to hear it.
みんなのエイムもだけど、なんかエフォートを聞いてみたいなと思う。それをちょっと参考にさせてもらってね。
Because we haven't reached our aim yet either. We're constantly trying. And so hearing your effort really inspires us as well. Thank you very much for watching. And we'll see you next time. Bye!
Bye!